mega ET Now exclusive with respect to Yes Bank. Hi, Pankaj.
And let's not waste time and go across to that mega ET Now exclusive that we are talking about. The management at Yes Bank is speaking first time after the RBI circular. Let's not waste time and straight away go across to Rajat Monga.
The word is well known and understood. I think the bank has had some challenges with the divergence subject in the past. As far as I believe, the bank has also done a lot to be able to correct that, including as and when we get past the next divergence numbers, we should be able to get that confidence that there is everything which had to be done has been done. But unfortunately, the past is something which we are not able to simply correct. We still believe that what we did was in the bank's best judgment. However, we always have to regard the regulatory judgment on top of that.
So do you think divergence was the issue why Reserve Bank of India has not extended Mr. Kapoor's extension?
Well, it seems like that to me, though I don't have access to any information which I can read and relate to you in terms of that, but that is what my understanding would be.
Have you got a formal communication from RBI?
Well, I'm not sure about whether the bank has got a communication or not, but I'm not aware of any such formal communication. I've not seen any such formal communication.
The stock has taken a plunge from 400 to sub 200. It's a huge market cap erosion. Minority shareholders are feeling the heat. And the general view is that the bank was not prepared or is not prepared for this kind of a migration.
Well, the bank will be more than prepared for this migration. Of course, our CEO, Rana Kapoor, is still our CEO, at least till Jan 31st. I think he has done a tremendous job in building this institution from practically nowhere. So I think that part can't be taken away from the institution, but there is serious depth of management in the organization. I mean, we were discussing, I've been interacting with you and your channels for a lot of time now. The bank has also taken steps to introduce executive directors to the board. Of course, that is subject to RBI approvals, but the board has been kind enough to also propose my name and my colleague Pralay Mandal's name to be able to also take more responsibility in the bank, including at board level. There is I would also go and say maybe among the best management teams in the country in banking in India is what you can find at Yes Bank. I know these people personally. They have extensive experience in their respective areas of field, whether it is retail banking, corporate banking, underwriting, markets, technology. I think everywhere, and I don't have to say that, you will also find that there is plenty of recognition for the bank by third parties. I mean, it is publications on payments, on technology, on debt capital markets. We have had lots which we have already proven, and it is the collective effort of the whole organization, the management, the 20,000 Yes Bankers that we depend on every day to be able to bring results into the organization, and this is what we are showing.
But the leadership does matter, and we know that especially in the banking sector, leadership does matter. Mr. Kapoor has created a formidable bank, a great franchise.
Yes.
I understand that Yes Bank is a cadre-based bank, and it would be business as usual. The bench strength is large, and the board is a very strong board. But his exit, and what could be called as an untimely exit, surely will have an impact on your historical growth rate.
See, there is a succession plan in the bank, and usually a succession plan is you would design it for a planned succession. Of course, this is somewhat of an unplanned situation that the bank is dealing with, but the board is more than prepared. And I think if RBI has suggested that we look at a successor by Jan 31st, I think there is sufficient time for the board to look at that. In fact, just this morning, we've also released a press statement also talking about the fact that the search committee is imminent in terms of its appointment, and that the bank is comfortable in terms of finding a successor. The bank will look at both internal and external candidates. It's very easy at this point in time to just appoint an internal candidate and just be tied over the situation, but I think it will be less than appropriate for the board to not also look at external candidates, and therefore that requires an element of time for it to be done in a fair, transparent and objective manner, which is what the attempt is. I think the succession will find its logical conclusion. I think the process has already begun. There are roles of personalities in all organizations. If you see banks all around us, there are roles of personalities, and there will be new personalities that will emerge in the bank. I mean, just you have to allow the succession to form the picture to be completed. And the moment the picture is completed, I think our conversations will be very different.
The board has also requested Reserve Bank, has also extended RBI to extend Mr. Kapoor's tenure, because the board feels that 4 months for a succession plan is very short notice. What if there is no extension given? Will the succession committee, will they be ready with a candidate?
See, the bank cannot be without a CEO.
Okay.
So let's start with that assumption. 4 months, in the board's opinion, which I have heard from the board, is sufficient for a succession. A smaller extension on top would have been win-win, in the sense that you get comfortable in terms of finding a successor, and you also have a time for handover, which can be considerably looked at. But it is not a showstopper. 31st January, if that's the date, the bank can also find the next outcome well before that, in my opinion. And I was just saying, for that reason as well, we have laid out a little bit of current status on what the progress is on looking for succession.
Is Mr. Kapoor coming to office?
Oh, of course, he's coming to office. We are on phone calls, chats all the time.
Is he taking the important decisions which a CEO should take?
Each and every decision is being taken.
Is it business as usual at Yes Bank? Are you feeling the heat from your customers, from your depositors?
So at some level, if you look through the numbers that we have also announced, though they are unaudited numbers, but we thought it's important that we share the outcomes on what you can say is business as usual or not. According to me, it is more than business as usual. I think we have had a very good closure to the September quarter, though on the balance sheet side, the advances book is growing nicely, the loan book is deposit group book is growing nicely, NPAs are more or less flat. So it is as good as you would like to see any bank to be at any point in time. It's just that the circumstances or the discussions that are happening may be just out of context at this point in time.
But you don't expect historical growth rates will come down because of this issue?
See, there would be, let's say, a trade-off that one will have to evaluate here. If there is a CEO succession plan that can be visualized as soon as, let's say, December, I think we are pretty much back to normal. The CEO will have to take those decisions at that point in time in terms of how the bank should be growing. But I must add that the growth opportunities are tremendous at this juncture. I mean, we all know that the Indian banking sector is in a little bit of a flux. There are lots of developments across the banking sector that are happening. So the growth opportunities are actually tremendous. I mean, we have been also executing strongly on top of that. This is just a little bit untimely, if I may say, in that we have to now also create a succession variable in terms of to manage on the side. Otherwise, business was like once in a lifetime window of growth that was visible. Continues to be.
You've grown at a rate which is higher than the industry average, and you've been drawing up capital, or you've been raising capital. Stocks come down. It'll be difficult for you to do a QIP, and I'm sure the board will not want to do a QIP when the stocks come down. In order to maintain growth now, how do you fulfill a capital requirement?
See, growth and capital have to go hand in hand. So far, if you look at our capital adequacy ratios, they are like, at the headline level, they're very liberal. We have total capital of 18%, we have tier 1 capital of more than 12%. So these ratios give us enough headroom. But yes, with the kind of growth that we have been doing, capital also has to go hand in hand. The capital structure will automatically fall in place the moment we have a succession, which has been made clear and visible. Capital will logically follow. There is growth in our country. We are a very good execution model. I mean, if there is something that Rana has done which is indelible, is the execution structure in the bank. I think it will be a piece of cake for the next CEO, whoever takes over from him, in terms of driving and running the organization. I can promise you that it is one of the best designs that you will see in terms of how execution should be done and can be done. So the capital as a logical step should follow the next leader, and he will have to lay out his own strategies. Like I was said, the platform is very conducive. In fact, in my opinion, this would be a very exciting opportunity for whoever is the choice of the board and the selection committee as they complete their process.
Are you hinting at an external candidate?
So the board should be open to both internal as well as internal candidates. I think there is, so it is, I would say, upon them to look at a fair outcome in this process. And usually there is a process even with the RBI which works that we don't make a singular recommendation to the regulator. We have to give at least a 3-name recommendation to the regulator, and therefore a choice and balance of external and internal candidates is actually the right thing to be done. So it has to be done in a manner that it is the best for the bank, best for the institution, and best for its shareholders and stakeholders.
You know, this is a market channel, and market channel, it's always important to focus on the stock. Like I said at the beginning of the show, 400 rupee stock has come down to sub 200. What is the update on the shareholding pattern? Are you feeling the heat from institutional shareholders? Is there a chop or churn there?
So I mean, it will be hard for me to comment on the stock price, etc. I mean, that is for more analysts to come to a conclusion. But I can at least discuss a little bit of the let's say situation of the shareholding. Of course, we have been in conversation with shareholders. I think we've had I've had a conversation with most of our large shareholders, and this situation has been evolving now almost for a month. So it is not that this has been. It's just that the decision from RBI is only about 10 days in the making. So the conversations have been happening. I've been speaking to, personally speaking to every large shareholders, some of them even more than once. I think if you look at our top 10 shareholding as well, I mean, though this information will be made public soon, but the structure of the, let's say, large ownership, if I leave aside the promoter and promoter group ownership, I think we have seen about 1.5% reduction in our top 10 shareholders outside the promoter and promoter group, and which is like, it could be because part of that is also index driven, and since the stock has taken some correction, there will be some let's say compelled selling also in some folios, but it is substantially intact. I mean, the large 10 shareholders outside the promoter and promoter group, and between them we are already describing 50 to 60% of our shareholders. And I think they are showing the faith. So it is clearly evident. I mean, they also have their own fund flows to look at, their own stakeholders to also address. But this is a problem which is more of, I would say, transition. And I think the moment the transition begins to take shape, you will see that the outcomes also will begin to look different.
So I'll raise two concerns which, according to me, could be disturbing the markets. One concern is that there was an divergence issue. The general view in the market is that historically, when some of the PSU CEOs and chairmen, when they've changed, the NPA recognition policy suddenly has changed with some other banks. That's a fear which markets or investors currently have, that after Mr. Kapoor's exit, will there be a big divergence? Will there be a big mismatch in reporting what you've reported in the previous quarter versus what you could report in the future?
Well, I think this will be unfounded, in my opinion. And I'm
archiving your answer, that this will be unfounded. The divergence issue is unfounded.
Well, the fact that if there is a change in leadership and then there will be some, let's say, consequences, that may be unfounded. I just wanted to lay the context to that. There will be a little bit of what I may say is an industry context. There will be some local context in our case. So I think one fact that we have to recognize is that we are in a improving credit cycle. And a lot of these circumstances that the market may have observed, that when there is a change of leadership and then there is a little bit of uptick in NPAs has been happening also when there was backlog of credit quality issues, and therefore this in the last 4 or 5 years have been in that context. So our memory actually is taking us to those developments which were in a very different context, and the context today is that the economy is improving. Credit quality across the banking sector is improving, and there is no reason for this development to actually take place. For good or bad, there has been, I would say, a good look from RBI as well on the portfolio. If there were any such, let's say, outcomes, they should have been already been tabled for us. And like we were discussing, we are confident that divergence, whatever is the outcome, whenever we are able to hear from RBI, is not likely to move our gross NPA number or our credit cost number. There is just maybe 2 bits more on this from me, on the asset quality side and its consequences, and we are reiterating the fact that the bank's credit cost 50 to 70 basis points is best in the industry. Yet it is best in the industry, divergence notwithstanding. So it is, I think, a little bit of, I would say, on trying to extrapolate past situations on new situations. I would just urge the people who are thinking in that direction to apply the current context of both the banking sector and our bank in that design.